Let's get to Daniel Penny, because there's a couple
Sure.
things that are still happening in our society that are holdovers from the pre-Trump moment of last month. We talked about like the Jaguar ad. You're like, that was a pre-Trump thing that's now coming out now. Or Snow White, that was filmed pre-Trump, and now it just feels very weird. The transgender Supreme Court case yesterday, like that was all like pre-Trump stuff, but it's now happening a little bit after, right? There's still like a hangover. And this is one of them too, this Daniel Penny story. This all happened pre-Trump, the second term, but now we have it's still going on, and hopefully Trump winning is a cultural shift in our country that we can put a rebuke to all of this. But anyway, you were at the we went over this case. We've gone over a couple times. We don't need to do all the details of it. And if you're just tuning in now, we spent a lot of time in the very first segment talking about with all the details. We played the body camera footage and all this stuff. So we don't need to do all the details. But you were at the closing statements. What stood out to you?
What stood out to me was how politicized the DA's office is. She was a disgrace. She was a liar. She was despicable. She actually made it sound as if Daniel Penny had a mission to accomplish that day, and that was to kill poor Dan Neely. That's what she made it sound like. But she was hardcore, progressive, left-wing, tied to Black Lives Matter. She is politicized. She is the DA Bragg's worst, one of his worst. He sat there. He didn't come in for the closing arguments of Daniel Penny's attorneys, Tom Caniff and Steve. No, he came in for the second half of the day after lunch, and we sat there, my chief of staff and I, and he was right across the aisle from me, maybe 8 feet from me. And to see this man up close, he's sickening. And this is what he wants. He came in to listen to her crucify Daniel Penny. And it was horrific. So how this young man sat there, he's a hero. And she did her job. Like I tried to explain that to my chief. This is what they do. But someone like that just, they have a mission. They're on a mission. And their mission is that there is no crime in New York. That you don't pay for crimes in New York unless they want to race bait you. This was race baited. Make no mistake. And they shove it in our faces now. There's nothing hidden. This was a race-baited ADA, and she turned it into something that it wasn't. And with the frustration that you feel watching it, you have to understand there's 12 people there, right? Jury of your peers. And what I kept holding on to, and I'm holding on to this day, because I can't wait for this to be over, is that all it takes is one juror to have a doubt. And Tom Caniff and Steve did a great job in doing that. That woman who spoke outside the subway, she was on the train when it happened. She was so honest and so forthcoming. And Daniel Penny, when he took this guy down, he could have killed him. Of course he could have killed him. He's a trained Marine. But the way Tom explained it in his closing argument, you have to go for the carotid and the jugular. He could have did it in a minute, less than a minute. But he didn't. He held him down. And it took two other guys to hold him down, along with Penny. One to the left, one to the right. And then they refused to go forward and say what needed to be said on Daniel's behalf. So now you have this woman turning all of this around. And it's just amazing how they could lie. And now I'm watching jurors that were sitting back sit up. So I'm trying to read some body language there. But I'm praying for one juror to have the common sense to know that we need these good Samaritans. The police took 8 minutes to respond. You were trapped in a subway car. This man came to a rescue. How many good Samaritans is this going to turn away now? People who want to
Yes.
jump in and try to help. No, maybe
Yes.
they're going to sit on the train and keep their earbuds in. Maybe Daniel Penny should have done the same thing. 26 years old today, and they're going to decide whether or not he's going to go to jail for 15 years for protecting innocent people on a train. People deal with these lunatics every single day. You can't move. The doors don't open while the train is moving. You can't get off a train quick enough. So when someone comes to help, you want to be
you're
that.
so
You
right.
want to be lucky enough to be
You're
on
so
that
right about
train.
this characterization of that the left had to make, that this DA had to make, this prosecutor, that he was on a mission. Like Daniel Penny, like was on the train the day looking for a black person to kill. Like so ridiculous, so
Exactly.
obviously ridiculous. And we played all the witnesses who were there talking to the police, and like the black guy was like, "Oh, he did nothing wrong. Like this guy was crazy." We made this whole point earlier that that like the criminals are a problem, but these enablers are as big of a problem as the criminals themselves. So how do we get rid of them? And I just want to quote from your Twitter post the other day. You said, "I saw a despicable excuse for a DA stand up in front of a court and flagrantly lie for no other reason but to destroy the life of a good man for the crime of protecting a train full of people from a violent and deranged bum." The fact that an angry, disheveled, spiteful woman like that can vindictively wield the law on behalf of our city is an embarrassment to the entire legal system. Why did you say disheveled?
She was a mess. She looked like she didn't. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit. She looked like she hadn't showered in a month. Her clothes were dirty. She looked disgusting. If you want to present yourself as she should have in a professional manner, okay, and then commit the crime of perjury and lying and crucifixion of Daniel Penny, at least look the part. She was disgusting, absolutely disgusting, disheveled, and I meant every word of it. And I hope she read my tweet. 4 million other people did. See, I have no problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever with speaking the truth. And when you talk about someone like that, that's a miserable, I won't say the other word, person standing in front of you, and just, she's angry. You know, women like that amuse me because I find that women who look like that, women who talk like that, they don't have much of a life. This is their life. They don't know, in my opinion, happiness, you know, and it comes from within. No, they only bake this anger inside of them. And you know what happens? The anger comes out and the anger starts to show. The older you get, it's wearing on your face. And she wore it on her face. She wants Daniel Penny convicted. And for Bragg to show up the way he did at 2:00 in the afternoon to watch her perform just tells you the mission that they're on. Okay? They want justice served. Now, let me also talk a little bit about his so-called relatives, Neely's relatives.
Oh, I hate to do this, Vickie. We got 60 seconds before I gotta hit the end here. But go ahead, do what you can.
The end result is show me the money. You think they cared about their nephew, their dear sweet nephew? Mental illness, drug addiction. Where were they when they needed help? No, they're looking for a big fat payout from New York City. Okay, so they could put maybe $8 or $10 million in their pockets. That's what they're waiting for. Because anybody who gave a damn, they would have helped this guy. If you loved your relatives, as I have loved some of my relatives who have some problems, you help. You're there to help. Okay, no, they're looking for a payout. So let me be clear about that. They could care less about Jordan Neely. All they cared about was the money.
10 seconds when you bump into, hopefully, a free man, Daniel Penny, next week in New York City. What will you say to him if you bump into him?
Oh, my God, it will probably be tears and hugs and a steak dinner and just really just, wow, kid, You did it. You got your life back. I can't even tell you. 24 to have this happen, 26 to be on trial for your life, but by these degenerates. Let's remember, these are degenerates that are taking down this hero, this young man. All right, it was just it's a very big picture that I've listened to, and I can't encapsulate it into this conversation. But I hope I did make a point, and I can't thank you enough for having me on.